Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at the annual report of SGX Group, fiscal year 2024.
All right.
So think of it like a financial checkup.
Yeah.
But instead of a doctor's office, we're in the exciting world of stocks, bonds, and everything in between.
Absolutely.
We've got some excerpts here to unpack, so let's jump right in.
So one of the most fascinating things about SGX Group is that they're not just an equities exchange. They have strategically diversified their business
Right.
into four core segments.
Okay, let's break down those segments. Always love to see how these companies, how they're spreading their bets, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. So their first segment is fixed income, currencies, and commodities, or FICC.
FICC, yeah.
So think of it as like the global marketplace for bonds, foreign exchange, and things like gold and oil.
Okay, got it.
And this segment is a powerhouse. It actually contributed 26% of SGX Group's total revenue in FY 2024.
Wow, 26%. That's a huge chunk.
Yeah, it's a major growth area for them.
Yeah, makes sense. Especially with these markets, they're always buzzing, right?
Right, exactly. So moving on to the next segment, we have equities cash, which is your classic stock trading.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this segment saw a little bit of a dip in revenue, down 2.1%.
Oh, interesting.
And the CEO even mentioned in the report the need to structurally enhance liquidity and listings.
Mm.
So it sounds like they're facing some headwinds there, but we'll dive into their plans to address that a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely want to dig into that a bit later. A dip in revenue always raises some questions.
Yeah,
What strategies do they have up their sleeve?
exactly.
So what's next on our segment tour?
Okay, so the third segment is equities derivatives. And this is where things get a little bit more complex. But essentially, we're talking about financial instruments that derive their value from an underlying asset like a stock.
Okay, so a way to manage risk or speculate on future price movements, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this segment has been quite resilient, maintaining stable average clearing fees, averaging about 2.49 basis points.
But what's really impressive here is the turnover velocity, 37.5%.
Wow. So they're moving.
Yeah, shares are being traded very actively.
All right, so some challenges maybe in the overall equities market, but it sounds like this derivative segment is holding steady.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so what about the final piece of the puzzle here?
All right, so the fourth segment is a bit of a catch-all category. It's platform and others.
Okay.
And this encompasses data and indices, technology solutions, and even things like corporate actions and central depository services.
A bit of everything in there.
Yeah, it's quite diverse. But this segment is a shining star. It had revenue growth of 5.6%.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. It shows how SGX Group is strategically leveraging technology and expanding beyond those traditional trading activities.
5.6%, especially considering the rocky market conditions, as the CEO put it.
Right.
That's pretty impressive. So it sounds like diversification is really working in their favor.
But let's not forget, we're ultimately here to assess the financial health. So let's dive into the numbers. What are some of the key financial highlights from this annual report?
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at their financials, the first thing that jumps out is their total revenue, $12,232 million. That's a 3% increase year on year.
3%, not too shabby, especially with all the, global economic uncertainty that's out there.
Right, exactly.
That's a good sign. So what other numbers should we be paying attention to here?
So their EBITDA, which stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, came in at a solid $702.2 million.
Right, EBITDA.
Yeah. And this metric gives us a glimpse into the company's core profitability, stripping away some of the accounting noise, so to speak.
So how efficiently are they running their operations?
Exactly.
Okay, so healthy EBITDA, they're managing their costs well,
Yes,
generating decent profits from their core business.
absolutely.
What about the bottom line?
Okay, so their net profit reached $597.9 million, which translates to earnings per share, or EPS, of 55.9 cents.
Right, EPS, the magic number.
Yeah. And EPS is a crucial number for investors because it directly reflects the portion of profit that is allocated to each outstanding share of stock.
Okay, makes sense. So we've got decent revenue growth, healthy profitability, solid EPS. What about those dividends we were talking about earlier? Did they deliver?
They absolutely did. The board has proposed a final dividend of 9 cents per share, which is a 5.9% increase compared to last year.
Almost 6%. Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, it suggests they're committed to rewarding shareholders even in a challenging economic climate.
So a good sign for those seeking steady income from their investments.
Exactly.
All right. It seems like SGX Group is taking care of their shareholders.
They are.
But creating shareholder value,
Right.
it goes beyond just dividends, right? What other strategies are they using?
You're right. Dividends are just one piece of the puzzle. SGX Group is taking a multi-pronged approach to enhancing shareholder value.
Okay, I like it.
So their dividend policy aims for mid-single-digit HGR growth. So they're aiming for consistent, sustainable increases over time.
Music to any investor's ears.
Yeah.
Consistent growth. Right.
Right, exactly. It sends a really strong signal to investors that they're committed to sharing their success.
Okay, but you mentioned multi-pronged. So what else are they doing besides just dividends?
So while it's not explicitly mentioned in the excerpts you provided, share buybacks can be another really powerful tool for enhancing shareholder value.
Share buybacks, okay.
Essentially, what happens is a company uses its own funds to repurchase its shares from the open market.
So they're shrinking the pie but making the slices bigger.
Exactly.
Okay, smart.
Yeah, so this reduces the number of outstanding shares, potentially increasing the value of the remaining shares.
All right, so we've talked about the good stuff. But as with any business, there's always challenges to navigate.
Of course.
So what headwinds is SGX Group facing in this ever-evolving financial landscape?
So the CEO highlighted some concerns about subdued trading activity in the cash equities market. So this indicates a need to attract more companies to list on the SGX.
Okay, and boost that trading volume, right?
Yep. Exactly. He specifically mentioned the need to structurally enhance liquidity in listings. So it seems like they're aware of this challenge and they're working on solutions.
All right, so they're not shying away from it.
No.
Makes sense that they're facing headwinds in the equities market given the global economic uncertainty that's out there.
Right.
But on top of that, the CEO pointed to potential slowdowns in the U.S. economy
Mm-hmm.
and the impact of varying monetary policies across the globe, right?
Yeah, right.
So this uncertainty can make investors a little bit jittery, leading to volatility in the markets.
So it's not just internal challenges, but also that complex global economic landscape that they're trying to navigate.
Exactly.
That's where the strategic initiatives come into play, right? Got to be proactive.
Absolutely.
What exactly are they doing to turn these challenges into opportunities?
So one of their major initiatives is focused on revitalizing the equities market.
Okay.
They're aiming to attract new listings, particularly from high growth sectors, like technology, innovation, bring in some new blood, right? New excitement.
Yeah, bring in fresh energy, excitement to the market, attract investors, and boost that overall activity.
It's all about staying relevant,
It is.
adapting to those changing dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay, so what other initiatives are they focusing on?
They're also really focusing on strengthening corporate governance. So they're pushing for more accountability and transparency among those listed companies. It's all about making sure that these companies prioritize that long-term value for shareholders.
Right, that's crucial.
Yeah, especially in today's world where trust and transparency are so important.
Absolutely. So what else stands out to you?
Their embrace of sustainability is pretty noteworthy.
Okay.
They've launched a sustainable fixed income initiative, or SFI.
Yes, I've had it.
It's a platform for issuing and trading bonds that are aligned with those environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, principles.
So they're tapping into that growing demand for ESG investments.
They are.
What exactly does this initiative entail?
Well, the SFI initiative really promotes that transparency and accountability and sustainability. It gives companies a framework for issuing bonds that meet specific ESG standards, whether it's about reducing carbon emissions, promoting inclusivity, or ensuring ethical business practices.
So like a way for companies to really showcase their commitment to sustainability, attract those investors who are looking for those ESG-friendly options.
Exactly. It's like investing with a conscience.
Right.
And SGX Group, they're aiming to establish Singapore as a, quote, leading sustainable and credible transition finance and trading hub, end quote.
Wow.
So they're really positioning themselves as a leader in that sustainable finance world, helping to channel capital toward positive change.
It seems like they're riding that sustainability wave, which is a pretty smart move considering the global focus on ESG investing these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
But are they solely focused on big businesses? Or do they play a role in the community at all?
No, they're actually deeply committed to social impact through their SGX Cares initiative.
SGX Cares, okay.
So this focuses on community growth and resilience through things like fundraising, employee volunteerism, and financial literacy programs.
Tell me more about SGX Cares.
Yeah, so since 2004, they've raised over $50 million
Hmm.
to support various charities and causes, and they've reached nearly 500 Singaporean footballers with essential financial skills.
50 million. That's an incredible contribution.
Yeah.
What kind of impact are these financial literacy programs having?
Well, these programs are designed to really empower individuals and communities, equipping them with the knowledge to make informed financial decisions.
Right.
It's not just about educating investors, it's
Mhm.
about fostering financial savvy across all walks of life.
So promoting that financial inclusion, which is very commendable.
It is.
So we've covered a lot, strong financials, ambitious strategies, the commitment to sustainability, community involvement.
Mm-hmm.
What's your overall assessment of SGX Group moving forward?
Well, overall, I think SGX Group is well positioned. They've shown resilience amidst all those global economic challenges that are out there.
Right.
They're adapting to investor preferences,
Mm.
and they're really actively shaping the future of finance, particularly in sustainability.
It sounds like they're on the right track.
Yeah,
Are there any potential red flags, any areas of concern?
of course. No business is without risk.
Right, right.
The success of their efforts to really revitalize that equities market, that's going to be crucial as competition heats up.
All right.
They need to keep innovating, attract those attractive listings to stay ahead of the game.
So they need to remain agile
Yes.
in the face of competition.
Exactly.
So what other factors should investors be considering?
Well, their ability to navigate that complex geopolitical landscape, especially with their focus on expanding internationally, regions like China and ASEAN,
Mm-hmm.
those regions offer huge growth potential,
Yeah.
but they also come with unique challenges.
Yeah, you got to be careful navigating those waters.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what about their financial position? Anything stand out there?
Yeah, so their financials are generally healthy.
Okay.
They have manageable debt levels
Mm-hmm.
and a pretty good track record of generating cash flow.
Good, good.
However, their operating expenses have been creeping up a little bit,
Okay.
so they're going to need to manage those effectively to maintain profitability, especially if revenue growth slows down at all.
So it's a balancing act
Yeah,
between investing for growth and maintaining that financial discipline.
absolutely.
Okay, so what about their commitment to shareholders? How are they doing there?
So their dividend policy, with that focus on mid-single-digit KGR growth, that's really attractive for income-seeking investors.
Makes sense.
However, they will need to sustain robust earnings growth to support those payouts over the long term.
Right, so ultimately it comes down to that sustainable growth,
It does.
both in their business and in delivering value to shareholders.
Exactly.
I'm feeling optimistic about SGX Group's prospects, especially with their, forward-thinking approach to sustainability and shaping the future of finance. But let's bring it back to our listeners here.
Okay.
What's the key takeaway? What should they be pondering after this deep dive?
They do seem to be striking that balance. Well, their strategic priorities, like expanding their multi-asset offerings, growing their international presence, and strengthening their network and partnerships. It all points to a company with an eye on the future,
Right.
positioning themselves for continued growth.
Yeah, it's always exciting to see a company not just reacting to market trends, but proactively shaping them.
Absolutely.
They're not just along for the ride, they're building the surfboard.
Right.
But let's bring it back to our listener.
Okay.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just curious about SGX Group, what's the key takeaway here? What should you be mulling over after this deep dive?
Well, the CEO emphasized creating a vibrant stock market, and that vision, it's backed by their strategic priorities and initiatives. It raises an interesting question for our listeners. Given all we've discussed, how might SGX Group attract new investors like you in the future?
That's a fantastic point. It's not just about understanding the company today, but about envisioning its potential
Right.
and its appeal for investors down the road.
Exactly. And that's what makes these deep dives so compelling.
Yeah.
We're not just presenting information, we're sparking curiosity, encouraging our listeners to think critically.
Absolutely. And we've only scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
I highly encourage you to check out the full annual report for yourself, get a more comprehensive view. It's packed with insights and details we didn't have time to cover today.
A lot to dig into.
So think of this as just a glimpse into the world of SGX Group, a taste of their story.
Yeah, well said.
And on that note, it's time for us to resurface from this deep dive into SGX Group. Until next time, keep those minds curious and stay tuned for more fascinating explorations into the world of knowledge.